Hello and welcome to Online Learning in a Hurry, guest episode number 7 with my good buddy Aras Bozkurt. Aras, how are you doing today, buddy?
Feel great. There is a good weather outside, but I am inside and speaking with you. Imagine.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Can you tell people where you work and what you do? I think you have one of the coolest jobs in the field.
Um, uh, First of all, thank you, Dave, for inviting me to online early meetings. Let me briefly introduce myself. I am Aras Bozkurt from Anadolu University, Turkey. I am an associate professor of distance education, and I am interested in distance education, online learning process, and online community formation. I therefore frequently use social network analysis, sentiment analysis, and other data mining and analytic approaches to have a better sense regarding how learning occurs in online networks. Just a small note, I work at Anadolu University, and uh, it's an interesting issue. We have 3 million students, and 1 million of them are active right now.
Wow. That's a big job.
I will talk about emotional presence, and I will try to explain why it is important from the perspective of online learning. Uh, let me explain. Let me explain it. Online learning and online learning networks are popular these days thanks to COVID-19. And today, uh, we will try to explore the potential of emotional presence. Um, Before that, I want to deal with a few issues why emotional presence is significant. First, online learning ecologies are not different from offline learning ecologies. I mean, classrooms, schools, universities, streets, and so on. Typically, in traditional offline learning ecologies, we interact with our peers, instructors, and of course, we interact with books, pen, and paper. These elements, living and non-living, constitute a learning ecology, and we are part of it. In brief, learning mostly depends on our interaction and communication. In this ecology, we therefore assume that learning is social. If learning is social, it's also contextual, and it is beyond transmitting knowledge. Probably no one defends the view that learning is simply a cognitive process, and learners are tabula rasa, I mean, empty boxes.
Yeah.
Probably people have left this idea, but interesting, I still see some people, still thinking learning happens in that way. Anyway, if that
Just
is the
shovel the
case,
information in your head. Just
yes,
shovel it
yes,
in there. It's no problem.
take the knowledge, put to the mind.
Yeah.
If the learning is, if that is the case, we have to add something humanly to the recipe of online learning, and it is emotion. Honestly, I believe that including emotion to our online learning recipe will make it delicious. By the way, it is like your bread recipe, Dave. I've seen you cook bread, and those who don't know, he cooks bread and probably many other things. They look so good. You know why? You know why they look so good? Because I think you also added something from you.
Yeah.
Likewise, we have to do the same in online learning. We have to add something from us to our online learning recipes, and this is, I think, emotional presence.
Right. So
Um,
how does so when I was talking to Alec Kuros yesterday, and he was talking about really thinking about the fact that a student is living in the real world and they have cats and people and maybe kids and stuff in their house, and that can be a place to have an emotional connection, but it can also be a way to maybe get involved in people's lives in ways that you don't need to, and sort of balancing that out. So how do you balance the difference between sort of remaining um, how do you share that emotional presence whenever you teach to try to encourage that connection with your students?
yeah, I was just about to talk about that point. I think first of all we have to assume that, online learning is not different from offline learning. I mean, actually, they are all part of a huge ecosystem. This a bit technical, but there is community inquiry model, which views the community as something that emerged in support of online learning, and it talks about three basic presence types. These are teaching presence, cognitive presence, and social presence. Accordingly, the right mix of these presence types provide meaningful learning experience. Among these, social presence is defined as the degree of being perceived real in online learning processes. Uh, in this perspective, we can define emotional presence as the outward expression of emotion, fact, and feeling by individuals and among individuals in a community or inquiry. Apparently,
Right.
we are talking about learning and human experience, and emotion cannot be excluded in any learning process, especially it is so essential in online learning. In offline learning, it is also essential, but you have some other means, tricks, and hacks to provide emotional presence. Consider yourself in a classroom. Uh, I mean, uh, you are able to control the whole environment in a way.
Yeah.
But in online learning, there is a distance in time and space, or sometimes just in space. So you have to put your effort to show your emotional presence.
You have to do
Um,
it consciously instead of having it just happen because you're there. You actually have to plan
yeah.
out what that emotional presence looks like, because
Uh-huh.
when you're face to face, it just happens. You smile at people, you wave, you do whatever. You got to find a way to do those on the internet. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Interestingly, until recently, emotional presence received little attention in academic circles, and many educational technology experts and online distance learning educators were seeking for significant difference, something a score under the 0.05, and it is still going on in that way. Um, yeah, please go on.
So we're gonna have to wrap this up time wise. I want to ask you if you can give us one paper, and we'll post it under the video here, that people can read to sort of get a sense of what emotional presence looks like in education. What would you say that one piece? Where do you start?
Okay, I will do that. All right. Um,
That's fantastic. Last word.
why do we need emotional presence? I think it helps us establish human bonds, which would sustain the existence of online learning environment. We would like to build an online learning community, and we need emotions so that attachment to community can appear. With emotional presence, we are able to create a climate of empathy and care, considering the recent developments, and many learners are under stress and psychological press as well as trauma, because
Yeah,
of these COVID-19
sure.
things. We need what we need is actually more emotional presence and empathy than teaching and learning strategies. This is what I feel. Actually,
Wow.
learning will follow if we can provide these human elements. However, everybody is in a rush to provide the best working solutions and best working at tech tools. Interestingly, all in a sudden, including those who are opposing to the online learning once, now has become educational technology experts, online learning designers. Well, I think, in this case, COVID-19 pretending to be a magical stick and transformed all these people. But what I wonder is what will happen after 12 o'clock? I mean, after
Right.
COVID-19. Will the magic be again? Will they turn into the pumpkin or what? This is something we're gonna see all together. As a final note, I would like to say that a smiling face, this is the easiest and simple technique to show emotional presence. can change online learning. It can further change the whole world, and it would definitely make the world a better place. And yes, when we talk about online learning, we are trying to reach people's minds, and we want to teach something. But most importantly, we have to teach their hearts. I think therefore we need emotional presence. Just a brief note. When I say emotional presence, you don't need to consider complicated things. Uh,
A
your
smile will do.
face, yes, smile, the tone. When you upload things to the learning management system, if you are over there, if you are present and visible to your learners, if you build an open communication, these can all be included to emotional presence. And these are important elements for online learning.
I can't agree with you more, man. Creating an environment of empathy and care, like there's never been a time we needed it more. Thank you so much for coming in and chatting with us, Aras. I hope you are healthy and well, and I hope the rest of you are doing good, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oops.
Okay, thank you.